I love stories of synchronicities, and Jennifer has a good one. Through a series of unfortunate events and a profound trip to Bali, she ended up finding her soul's purpose. Join me for Jennifer's story. This is the highway to healing. Jennifer, I am excited to talk to you today. I have been thrilled to be collaborating with you through Spirit and Spark for some time now. And a lot of clients come to you for guidance on what their heart, their soul needs. I kind of think of you as this person that people can go to when they want to manifest something, because you're like the queen of manifestation. So I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you today.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I want to dive right into your story. You had stage 2 melanoma skin cancer. You also had to have your gallbladder removed, and it all happened around the same time, all after not having health insurance. So it became this health crisis in a way. But you have a story behind what happened and how this came to be in your life. I would love for you to share with our audience today, what do you believe led to these different problems that you were having? Give us the backstory.
Okay. So in 2017, I was planned to get married, and I had called off a wedding a few months prior to me supposed to get married. And a lot of people told me I had cold feet, and I didn't. It wasn't cold feet, and I was engaged for a few years, but it just didn't feel aligned with me. So I called off a wedding, and probably about a half a year later, I got into a relationship with what I call is a karmic relationship. It was very, very toxic. And it was a relationship I ended up being in for a year and 4 months. And probably right before I found out that I had the skin cancer and I needed my gallbladder removed, I actually ended up canceling my health insurance because my deductible, I ended up finding out, was so high. And I'm like, well, unless I get into a catastrophic accident, I'm very healthy. I work out all the time. I'm good. I'm fine. I can go. So I canceled my health insurance, and literally 1 month later, I found out I had stage 2 melanoma. I kept scratching my back and I kept feeling like there was something there. And I really felt like an angel was really tapping me on the shoulder, like, this needs to be checked out. So I checked it out. It ended up coming back stage 2 melanoma, which is skin cancer. And it scared me because, I have a little boy, I'm a single mom. And I was worried, but I was like, we are going to cut this out and I'm going to do whatever I can. And we're just going to get this out of my body. And then literally probably 2 weeks later, I actually found out I needed my gallbladder removed. And so I had that removed, and the date that I ended up having removed ended up being the exact date I was supposed to get married a year later. And I don't believe in coincidences, and I'm a big numerology person. So I knew the universe was really talking to me. And I ripped the gallbladder out, and that actually led me into a state of depression. Once I woke up, I just felt like I was like mourning, like I had like this loss, like I lost my gallbladder. I had to pay cash for it. So I was financially struggling at the time because I did not have the health insurance, but I was really sick. So it needed to come out. This was the middle of July, this had happened. And I got really skinny because of the depression. I was probably about 101 pounds, the skinniest I've ever been. But I had a trip booked to Bali. I don't know if you want me to go there yet, but
yeah, let's talk about it.
So all that had happened. Like I said, I was in a state of depression, but I had a trip booked to Bali for my birthday that was booked for 8 months, and I felt I had no business to go financially, but my soul felt like it needed it. And my girlfriend had told me to watch Eat, Pray, Love before I went to Bali, and I don't know if you ever saw Eat, Pray, Love, but Sandra Bullock goes to this spirit guru, and I was like, I want to go to this spirit guru. So I literally like tracked down a guy that knew a spirit guru in Bali, and I went to Bali and I visited not that spirit guru, but a different spirit guru. And he reminded me that I felt like he was like Master Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like I felt like he was like thousands of years old. And I got to him, his English was very poor, and he like literally just like touched my arms, and it felt like an electric shock ran through my body. It was energy that I've never felt before. And I was already very spiritual, but I didn't know that I was about to go through the biggest spiritual transformation right then and there. And so he tells me to lay down, and he said, "Oh, you were very sick, and you were very sick." He said, "It's all been removed from your body." And I was like, I just was like, "Oh my God." So he started to touch each one of my toes, and each one of your toes actually represents an organ in your body. And he got to my fourth toe, and he looked at me and he said, "What happened to your gallbladder or your liver?" This man didn't even know my name. Like, his English was so poor, and I literally just started to cry because I was like, "You don't even know my name. Like, how could you even know this? You know, I'm from the United States of America. I'm literally thousands of miles across the world." And he asked me that, and I literally just started to cry. And then he told me, well, if you have any questions, I can jump into the story after, because this was really where my transformational, spiritual transformation like began.
Right. I mean, you're just like Julia Roberts. I remember that part of the movie where she goes and talks to the guru, and it sounds to me like you had a very profound experience while you're there. So you're in Bali, and he gives you this insight, and you feel this energy go through your body, and you know that you have now been changed.
Mhm.
So what would be the next step then? Like, did you come back home, and what were the things that you started to activate?
So there was something that he said to me, and I just want to back up. Like, right before the trip to Bali, I was still in like the state of depression, all this. And I remember this was the moment that I think changed me before I went to Bali. And then Bali just like was like the big change. I remember surrendering to God. And I know a lot of people like the universe or higher power, whatever you want to call it. But to me, I surrendered to God. And I remember just being so depressed in my room one day, and it was the afternoon. I didn't want to get out of bed, and I was just exhausted. Like, and I never knew depression my entire life. I never knew what it was. I didn't understand why people couldn't just get up and get their life together. But for the first time in my life, I was understanding why other people really struggle, because I was struggling. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to be a mom. I didn't want to do life. Like, I was just so depressed. And I remember just being literally in my room on my hands and knees. And I remember just telling God, "I don't know what you're trying to do, and I don't know where you're trying to take me. I will go. I will be the horse, and you can lead me to the water, but you must guide me. You must light my path." And I literally told him that probably like a day or two before I left for Bali. I said, "I will do whatever it is." I finally surrendered, because I like to call myself a recovering control freak. I love to be in control. Not so much anymore, because I know that I'm not. But that really was what led, and then this trip to Bali. So I was talking to the spirit, the guy, and he told me, after he told me about the gallbladder, he said to me, he just kept going, "Ha ha ha," because his English was very poor. And I was like, I looked at my driver, who I've known for a few days because he's been driving me around Bali. I was like, "What is he saying?" Because I literally couldn't understand him. He says, he's telling you that every time you look in the mirror to laugh and swallow it, because your saliva is connected to your heart. And so I went home after Bali, and about a month later, I was with my girlfriend, Caitlin, who had not been to Bali with me. She was not there with me with my other two girlfriends, and who did not know this story. I did not share this story with her. And at the time, I had just started meditating, and meditating was very difficult for me. So I meditated in the bathtub, and my bathtub was behind me, and my mirror is in front of me. And I had a moment where I was just staring at myself in the mirror in my bathtub. I'm waiting for my bathtub to run. And this is probably literally like 3 to 4 weeks after Bali. And I was like, "What the hell am I doing with my life? Like, where am I going? And what am I doing?" And out of nowhere, my girlfriend Caitlin texted me. She's like, "This is so weird. This just popped up on my phone." And it said, "Reminder, ha 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 ha," as I'm staring in the mirror. And I know that the angels and our guides will use other people to talk to us. So I said, "Did you send this text message to anybody else?" She goes, "No, just you." I go, "It wasn't for you. It was for me." I go, I'll share with you after." So I take my bath, I do my meditation, and I needed to move my car into the garage. And so I did this. This is like an hour after the ha 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 moment, Mira. And I moved my car into the garage. I walk into my house, and I hear something. I hear noise. And I was like, I thought my son was sleeping. So I go upstairs and he's sound asleep. I thought he was on the Xbox. And I walk into my room and my phone is on my bed playing Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. And I Googled the words and I really sat, and it literally says, if you're looking to make a change, it starts with you, the man in the mirror. And I knew exactly what the universe was telling me, that if I want my life to change, it starts within me. And I swear to God, that day, everything changed for me, because it was like so much was happening that the universe always shows up for me. I always get signs, I always get symbols, I get a lot of numbers, I get hummingbirds, but I never had the universe show up for me like it did that day. It really just kind of blew my mind. And that was when I really, even though I already told God I surrender and like show me the way, I think that was the day that I really said, all right, let's get it together. And I really was like, I actually said, I want to be a life coach. And then I changed it. I said, I'm going to be a life coach. And then synchronicities just started to happen, and which weren't coincidences. And that's really where I'm at right now. So that was my aha moment.
I would say so. I love when the universe lines up things that are just undeniable. I compare that to when all of my gifts came in New York overnight when my friend's aunt had passed away. And I've told that story numerous times, so I won't go into it now, but when you know, and there is absolutely no denying when things are being shown to you. It's kind of like a rebirth. And the universe says, here you go. And in your case, they said, all right, Jennifer, you went to Bali, you had this experience. It was not an accident. It was divine intervention. You have everything inside of you that you need to do what you need to do. You came here embodied as a human being to help people with their own growth, their own evolution as a being, as a spirit. And I love that it came to you in this way. It's like the universe had to take you through some of these hard lessons and life-altering experiences in order to line you up exactly where you needed to be, but you were open to it, which I think is a key ingredient for people listening. People that are like, I wish I could have that happen to me. And really, miracles happen every day, all day. We should be expecting miracles. And so when we open ourselves up and say, I'm ready, I surrender, it is amazing what God, the universe, will bring forward. And so you help people in profound ways. You are an amazing soul and life coach, spiritual practitioner. So people that may be listening right now that are thinking, I'm in my dark night of the soul, or maybe they are starting to emerge from it, but they just cannot figure out, what's next or how to even begin to open themselves up to surrender or to hope. What would be something that you could tell people that are going through a difficult time right now?
To take your hands off the steering wheel, that for me was probably at the time was, I'm a Virgo. I like things in neat little boxes, and I like my post-it notes, and I was trying to control my life really. And the universe was like, you chose a path before you came here and you're not aligned with your true life path. And we need to push you. And I wasn't ready to be ebb and flow with it. Like I was literally going against the current and I was fighting it. And I think that's why all those things, there's a reason why I called off the wedding. There's a reason why that person came into my life and I had that karmic relationship. He was my mirror. He taught me a lot. I don't regret that relationship. And yes, did I get sick? I did, but it didn't kill me. It didn't bring me to a point. If anything, it made me so much stronger, because what that karmic relationship did was it stripped me down to where I had to learn how to love myself again. And it's funny because I'm like a self-love coach. That's what I teach. Like if you want to manifest something, you really have to love yourself. Everything begins with you, right? And so that's what I had to learn, is to love me, to love myself. So the biggest thing is to really take your hands off the steering wheel, because we try to control our lives, these incidents. But the thing is something higher is in charge. And if you're not aligned on the path that you chose before you came here, the universe will literally dump an 18-wheeler on you. And that is what happened to me. to get me aligned with where I was going and what I was supposed to do. And I'm thankful for it, because it's like I always say, sometimes we have tunnel vision. We can't see the bigger picture. We can't see a different way. And sometimes the universe and God, actually not sometimes, always, they're always going to paint a better picture for us than we would paint ourselves. And I truly believe that. So if I would tell anybody to help them, it would be to definitely surrender and really take your hands off the steering wheel. Ask for help from your guides. Ask them to show you the way. Angels love to help you. Our guides love to help us, but we have free will of choice. And that's why we have to ask for the guidance and for the help.
I completely agree with you. One thing that I just heard from your statement was that we have to often be the mirror for other people. And sometimes it's going to a practitioner just like you that can hold up the mirror and say, here's maybe what you're not seeing, because I believe that we attract what we are, or we attract the lesson to help us heal a wound that we have. So would you say that one of your life purposes this time around would be to be that mirror for people?
Absolutely. I think that for me, it was like when I was going through my darkness, right? And I had it was only a few months of depression, and I never experienced depression. It really made me sit with it. It's like people have depression for years. They sit with it for a long time, where they think it's normal. And I think the reason for me to go through my struggles is, especially with my clients, is I actually can sit and say to them, I understand your pain. Because when I say that, I genuinely mean that, because I actually know what they're going through. I know that hurt. I know that dark place. I've been there. I've literally been there. So I think for me, I had to go through that in order to be the coach that I am today. How can I sit and say I understand you if I really don't understand you? And I think that's what makes people so comfortable, my clients comfortable, to really open up to me when I tell them my story. They're like, oh, she does really get it. She does understand that pain. And I think a lot of coaches that are out there, they don't understand that people's pain. They don't understand their clients' pain. So they don't know where they're coming from or what they need to get out of that place. And I do understand it. So I do think I am that mirror. And I think that those dark times had to happen in order for me to be this version of me, in order to me to be the coach that I am as well.
Right, because you will see through your client in so many layers that they themselves may not even, be recognizing at this point in time. You mentioned earlier about loving numbers and the frequency of numbers. And, you and I have had side conversations about numerology and your love of numbers and how they show up. And I'd love, if you don't mind, just for a moment, for our listeners, what is numerology? And some people will write in at times and say, hey, Dallisa, I always see the number 11, or I always see the number 3. What do you think about numbers showing up for people?
So certain certain numbers in numerology, I would compare it to like astrology, right? Certain numbers mean certain things, just like certain planets and certain signs do. So for me, numbers started to show up a few years ago, and each number has a certain vibration. But it was about a year and a half ago, I came across this thing that explained your life path and what a life path number was. And I never knew what a life path number was. And so I did my life path number, and I found out I was a master number. And there's three master numbers. There's 11, 22, and 33. People want to have master numbers in their numerology chart, but they come with a lot more lessons than the other numbers. And it's actually, you can even have a master number year, for instance. But what it does is it has a higher spiritual vibration that comes with it. It comes with more lessons, but it's more powerful, and you're meant to lead and do work while you're here on this earth. So numerology, we have the numbers 1 through 9, and which will explain your if you have a life path number 1 through 9, which most people do, will explain a lot about you, just like your sun sign in astrology will. And for instance, this year we're in a year of 2021, so we are in a 5 year, which 5 is all about changes. 5 is about adventure, and it's kind of like expect the unexpected. Just like you said, you pulled the Tower card, which made so much sense because it's just things can change so dramatically and you didn't see it coming because it is a 5-year, but it's always for the good. It's always at the end, it's always for the positive and to lead you where you're supposed to be. So in numerology, like I said, each number holds a certain vibration. For instance, when I see 888, I know abundance is coming. 8 is the number of money. I think a lot of people get scared because, for instance, like 666, they think it's connected to something negative when actually it's not. 666 means that your mind and your thoughts and your heart are just not aligned and you need to get in alignment. So it's really just a tap on the shoulder from your angels talking to you. So if you see numbers and they show up, it's a certain vibration. They're trying to talk to you. But you also have your life path numbers, you have your personal year number, and then we have the universal year number. So numerology, it's actually my love, which numerology and astrology. I really love it. I can talk numbers forever, but it's something that I think people should start to dive into if they want to know more about themselves and their path here on Earth.
I completely agree. I tend to look up my life path number and match it with the year that I'm in to get an idea of what's going on. A lot of people, though, may have never heard of a life path number. They don't even know where to start. But lucky for them, you do numerology sessions and you talk to people about their life path number. And you blend that beautifully with the coaching so they know what to do and how to achieve their goals and their aspirations. So it's a beautiful blend. As we begin to conclude our chat today, which I've really enjoyed, is there anything you want to leave people with, like any inspiration or a message of hope that you think might help people listening right now that are struggling or they're stuck or they're not really sure what to do next?
To reach out to one of the practitioners at Spirit and Spark, because a lot of people that are struggling think that they have to go through this alone, that, they're in this dark place and they can never get out. And it's really just the mind monkeys playing with them. You are not alone. You'll be surprised at how many people do feel the same way that you do. You're not meant to come to Earth and be sad or be depressed or be stuck in this. You're actually meant to live a very happy life. But we have to change our mindset. We have to fall in love with ourselves. So really reach out to a practitioner that can guide you out of that. And because you're meant to be happy. And I think a lot of people get stuck in their sadness and their depression where they start to think it's normal. And it's normal to feel like that. And they forget what it's like to be happy. And the thing is happy is actually what the normal is supposed to be.
I love that because you're right. It doesn't have to be hard for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so appreciate you, Jennifer. I've enjoyed our conversation.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. All right. We'll talk again soon. For more information on Jennifer's work, visit jenniferirene.com. Stories like this one are important to tell. It reminds us that even during the darkest times, we can always find light. We can always choose faith over fear. For exclusive content, please join my Spark Plug members-only community and apply to be a guest on this show. Find out more at spiritandspark.com.